The following podcast has been rated PGN. Parental guidance is neglected.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a little father-son chat.
I am your father.
Father, if you can hear me, I failed.
Don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I'm here with my dad.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I've abandoned my boy!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is it.
This is it. Happy New Year, by the way.
This is it.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. This is the big one.
The big one. This is
We're here.
the end of the year show. Technically, it's the beginning of the year. We're filming this on January 1st. Hopefully, this will be up tomorrow, the 2nd.
We'll get tomorrow.
Yep. Because you are leaving for Paris on Tuesday.
Yep.
And you're
Yes,
ready.
I am.
You are ready to spread the word. You're going on your mission to France. This is your year abroad to spread the good news.
If you guys need to find me, I'll be wearing a white button-down and black pants and riding a bike.
Yes.
So just look out for that.
Knocking at random doors. Breaking into musical numbers. I wanted to see Book of Mormon when it came around this time. It didn't fit into you still haven't seen it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
No.
it was playing here in LA at the Pretentious, and you were still in school and finals and all that. So it's
I'm not the biggest musical guy, but I'm such a big Tran Parker fan, and so I feel like you can't really go wrong with that.
You gotta trust me. Next time it comes to town, we'll have to see it. Full disclosure, right off here at the top before we get into everything. I just ate, and I just had a bunch of beans, so I don't know how this is gonna go. Don't give me that face.
I'm glad you're downstairs.
Don't
and I'm
give me that
upstairs,
face.
So.
Oh man, I had some of that leftover barbecue we had from last night. I'm not a
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a beans guy, and I saved you some, so there's more leftovers for you today. You get plenty of tri-tip, but yeah, no, I'm not a beans guy, but man,
Me either.
I love the Wood Ranch barbecue beans though.
I can do beans if they're like with other things, and it's like unavoidable.
Don't
but
you do
I
like
would never ask for them?
Don't you like do beans in your burritos and stuff though? Like when you run to the border, do you get the bean burrito? No, it's not your. You don't ever do that.
Not my thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we were we both just shoveled down some lunch because this is probably going to be a 4.5 hour episode. So we had to really.
Oh, this is an experience. We're going to be for every film we talk about, we're going to be taking about 30 minutes to really dissect it.
Settle in, everybody.
Give you a shot by shot summary.
We might have to release this in parts, kind of like The Matrix. This is episode 1.
It's like the
PGN podcast.
This is our Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, this is it. You watched, by the way, have you watched that Amazon Lord of the Rings show? Have you sampled that?
I'm not that interested, to be honest.
I'm not either.
The Lord of the Rings movies are great. I don't have any issues with them. It's been forever since I've seen them. But I don't know, something about going back and... I have a friend that goes to my school that's a big Lord of the Rings guy. He read all the books and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I don't really get why they made the show because... like Tolkien, the guy who wrote him, spent so much time building a background for the world, and then they kind of just threw it out the door, and we're like, all right, here's this new lore. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Yeah. I don't know. Whoever's watching this can correct me.
I don't think I will ever revisit the Lord of the Rings movies. I don't
feel the need to. I mean, I know people love them, but it's
you know what it is. The Lord of the Rings movies were great, and I remember enjoying them. The Hobbit movies, not so much. I stomach through them.
Yeah, I agreed.
And I think that killed me on the whole thing. But yeah, I don't see, am I going to sit down one weekend and for 9 hours watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Or no.
Yeah, they're long. They're long.
Long, yeah. Just before, Jackson, what were you just listening? Let me explain something to our audience. Jackson and I, we're on the same level with movies a lot. Music, that's hit and miss. What the hell were you just playing 5 minutes before we go on? You were listening to something.
Oh, in the shower?
Yeah, you were in the shower.
Sleep by Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Okay, can you play a second or two of that? I know we don't have copyright, but I think you can play 10 seconds of it to give the audience an idea. I thought somebody First, I thought I left a TV on somewhere. Like I thought it was static.
Yeah, well, it starts with like a long like monologue of this guy talking about Coney Island.
No,
and
don't play that part. Play the really annoying part. Like, is there any way, like on your phone?
Okay, here, real quick, it's gonna play right now. Okay,
that was going on. What you just listened to, that was going on for like 30 minutes. I was like, what the hell are you listening to?
It's like a 20-minute long song.
Sometimes you and I, like, we're down, like, you and I can both get down with some Pink Floyd or every once in a while some.
There's definitely overlaps, but there's also a lot where it's just like
I don't know what
not happening.
I don't know what the hell you were listening to, but imagine sometimes I'm in my house and I have to listen to what you just heard for about 2 hours, and I just bite my lip and go, "It's good to have my son home for a little while."
That's how you know I'm back. You can just hear it in the background.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, Jackson is off to Paris, taking a course through his university there for about 3 weeks, and then he'll be back. So we will be on a hiatus. I do not have the technical skills to do this by myself, even if I had a guest star. And trust me, there's a lot of people I would love to have substitute for Jackson. But that is not going to happen. He's our technical whiz. So, but the good news is we'll be back in about 3 weeks. I will keep doing film reviews online. I will drag myself out to see Megan and Plane and all the stuff in the theaters because I like to torture myself like that. So I'll post some stuff. So if you're following me on Instagram, and I'll put them up on the PGN podcast Instagram site as well. Maybe if we're lucky, if you're following Jackson and Burns on any of his social media, he might be putting up some interesting stuff from Paris. That'll be interesting to follow as well. But
I did have a new video come out today as well, so if you want to check out...
plug it away.
Also.
Plug it. Go ahead, plug.
Yeah, I got a YouTube channel. It's just my name, Jackson Burns. I put out a video about the TV show The Rehearsal today, so if that interests you at all.
Oh, you've been telling me to watch that, right? That's some kind of hidden camera thing or something?
Yeah. It's... You should go in blind, I think.
Really? Okay.
I think it's that kind of thing.
The problem is, I did a hidden camera show, as you remember, for a couple years for Spike TV called Oblivious.
Yeah.
Hidden camera shows kind of outstayed their welcome. I think there was so many. It's like we got.
This is definitely something different. I mean, it is a hidden camera show to a degree, but it's a lot more than that, and you'll see.
Is it real or is it set up? Like, are you watching it and going, "This is fake"?
It's kind of up for interpretation.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go. There's a TV recommendation.
Probably a mix of both.
So check out Jackson's YouTube channel. How many subscribers do you have now? Your channel's gotten huge, hasn't it? I mean,
it's starting to get there. I just hit 10,400 today.
Wow! Congratulations, the Big 10, huh?
Thank you.
Look at you.
Big 10 finally surpassed it.
Good. And but not to be surpassed, PGN podcast. We got about 55 maybe 55 total.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're growing.
We're on our way.
So we're
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
We're nipping at the heels, Jackson. Nipping at the heels. I'm waiting any day for some big Hollywood studio executive to call and go, "This is a TV show. We've got to put these boys on together." So there you have it. PGN podcast. Parental guidance is neglected. It is that time of the year. Everyone has been releasing their top 10 lists. So we're going to be doing that as well. Lots of nominations coming out. The Golden Globes are already out. And when Jackson gets back from Paris, that'll be just about the time they're announcing the Academy Awards. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot of thoughts.
Very excited for that.
A couple of months to let that percolate and discuss. Before we get to our top 10 lists of the year, we did see one last film this week before
we did.
We closed it out. This is a film that directed by Sarah Polley. It's been released in L.A. and New York to make sure it qualified for the Academy Awards. This is a semi-early review. It will not open wide until late January, probably around the 20th. It's already garnered quite a bit of steam. Both AFI and the National Board of Review had it in its top 10 movie lists of the year. It won the Best Ensemble from the Boston Film Critics and the National Board of Review. and it has 1 Golden Globe nominee for screenplay. It's based on a real story about a Mennonite society called the Manitoba Colony in Bolivia, and this movie is an adaptation of the novel written in 2018 by Miriam Toews. It tells the, as I said, true story of a group of women in a how would you describe secular? What was the word I'm looking for, Jackson? Kind of a extreme religious. You want to think?
Well, like a religious. It's
yeah,
it's Mennonites.
It's the Mennonites. They never say it's Mennonites in the film, but if you've done any research, you know this is based on a Mennonite colony. Yeah. Think Amish, or I don't want to put any particular group under the bus. There's extremes
just a group
every
of people
religion
who take their religion to the extreme by kind of pushing technology out and having very set and defined gender rules and laws, I guess.
The story revolves around the women in this particular colony who are not only pretty much looked down upon and considered pretty much more or less property. They are not educated, as are the young boys, so they grow up not even knowing how to read or write. And as we are told at the beginning of the film, there have been a series of attacks from men in the colonies. Many of the girls are getting raped, impregnated. Obviously, you can tell there's some implications of even some breeding in here that's a little too close in the family tree. And as the men are away for a weekend to help bail out the gentlemen who were arrested for the attacks, the women are left to talk. That's the title, Women Talking, to discuss the pros and cons of staying, fighting, or leaving. The film stars Claire Foy. Claire Foy, most people will know from The Crown, Rooney Mara from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, veteran actress Judith Ivey, Jessie Buckley, who's been in everything the last 2 or 3 years, as well as Frances McDormand, who's in this briefly. She's also executive producer of the film. And the one male you're going to recognize, and the only male in the film, is Ben Whishaw, that most people will know as Q from the James Bond movies, British actor. Women Talking. It is an ensemble film.
And he was in The Lobster. He was in The Lobster, which I will defend with my life. It's a good movie.
All right. Yeah.
Great movie, even.
Yeah, he brings them around every time. Women Talking. It is a small film. It is pretty much set in one location, a barn, with some pretty nifty and beautiful camera work done in between for the transitions, and is definitely an actor's film. But before I get into more of my thoughts, Jackson, what did you think of Women Talking?
Yeah, so I like this. I did. I don't think I loved it, but I definitely liked it. I thought that I've seen a lot of comparisons to 12 Angry Men in the way that it's kind of like a group discussion about what to do in one location.
Yep.
And I think it deserves that title in a way, or that comparison. 12 Angry Men is one of my favorite movies, and I like the idea of just having like one set location with a group of people trying to make a decision when they each have very different worldviews. My one big issue with this movie, it just comes down to, actually, funny you said this, because I wasn't the biggest fan of the cinematography in this.
Oh, really?
Really? No, I wasn't a fan of the way it was colored either. It was very muted. The coloring was very muted, not to get all nerdy, but and I think that I have seen movies do muted color before that just looks better. I think this was kind of like a more, just not my thing. I don't know. It wasn't. I wasn't a fan of the cinematography per se.
I think that I enjoyed this film a lot more than you did. I can tell. But this is definitely an actor's film.
It really is. Yeah, I agree.
And to counter your thing with the camera and the muted colors and the cinematography, I would say that I like the fact that the director kind of stayed out of the way. And let the actors. So I wasn't distracted by. I mean, there are some crazy things with some camera angles hovering over beds or shots of the field, but those are kind of in between and dispersed between the stuff in the barn. Once you get into the women talking and debating and getting in the barn, I really felt like, at least for me, the director Sarah Polley just kind of got out of the way. Just went, let's just put those cameras right on these faces and let's let them command it. And I actually appreciated that, but I thought she put a little of her camera.
No, I agree. I agree. I think like I agree that it was good that the camera guy got out of the way, and I like that a lot. I think I'm more just talking about the lighting and the coloring. Like for example, I think that the movie Prisoners, the Denis Villeneuve movie with Hugh Jackman, like does a great job at like having just like a pretty normal camera movements, but keeping the colors at that muted level that doesn't look bad, but it's not like in your face either.
Gotcha.
But I definitely do agree. I think that you would probably get a lot more out of this than I would, just because you are an actor, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's an actor's showcase, and to be honest with you, I think it's one of the most diverse and well performed films of the year. I can't really single out anybody. If I had to, I'd say that Ben Whishaw and Rooney Mara probably to me had the most poignant moments. But everyone gets a point to shine here. Even Frances McDormand, who does very little, when she's on camera, you can't look away from her. Her face is just
she's so great.
She
commands it. She's so talented.
This is an actor's wet nightmare. It's just you can't help but love that. Women Talking for me. We'll see very shortly if it makes my list, but it's an A for me on Women Talking. And as I was saying, Jackson, we may or may not have just had a really horrible splice, but Jackson's going to fix it in post tonight. If you missed it, I said Women Talking is definitely a bit of a wet dream, if you will, for actors. It's one of the best some of the best performances of the year. Ben Whishaw and I think Rooney Mara maybe stand out as the most poignant, but everyone here deserves kudos.
Agreed.
I absolutely loved it. It's right up my alley. Women Talking for me gets an A.
Wow. Okay. And Women Talking for me gets a 6 out of 10, which is still a good score. I still liked it. It just wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't great.
No, I get it. Again, I think it resonated more with me as an actor. And
I agree completely.
You do have to. You got to admit, the last 25 minutes of it, when
oh my god, I was like, get out.
A decision has been made, and I don't want to say what the decision was, but we're like, if you don't act on that decision quickly, shit's gonna hit the fan. So please, act.
Really quick.
Which was definitely up the stakes for me a little bit there. So Women Talking, I highly recommend.
Definitely go see it.
As far as
or
that
watch
goes.
it on Netflix, I guess. And since
now let's get before we. By the way, we coming up here, we're going to delve right into it. It is our top 10. Let's call it this. It is our 10 best films of 2022, and our 10 not so best movies of 2022. I think Jackson and I kind of had like a moment a week or two where we said, let's, we know how hard people work on films. We know how much sometimes they put their heart and soul in it. And it's very tough to sometimes, as lovers of film, not be so passionate when something really misses the mark. So we're kind of going into the new year trying to avoid words like worst or pile of crap or hated it, or even though we might feel those visceral feelings, we're going to try to go in with everything with a glass half full. With that said, sometimes there's very little in the glass. And
sometimes the glass is
sometimes
a quarter full.
Yeah, sometimes the glass has a little backwash in it, and there's no way in hell you want to drink that backwash. We're going to start a bit of a tradition here, and just by labeling it the 10 best and the 10 not so best films. You can interpret that as you will. Before we get into that, and I do want to, because we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to address my elephant in the room, and that is last night while Jackson was out carousing up his New Year's Eve with his friends. I sat down and watched one of his favorite films of the year, may or may not be on his 10 best list, but he raved a few weeks ago about the Korean film Decision to Leave. Jackson, tell us just remind us what that film is. It's a lot of heat on it right now, and it's probably the front runner for Best Foreign Film if it does get the Academy Award. But tell us about the film again very quickly.
Yeah, so Decision to Leave tells the story of a detective in Korea. It's directed by Park Chan-wook. You guys might know him from Old Boy. It's kind of his big hit. But it tells the story of a detective who is on the case of a woman's husband who has been murdered. He fell off of, or suspected of murder.
Suspected of being murdered.
He's been fallen or pushed, we don't know, off of a cliff while he was rock climbing. And so he's kind of forced to investigate her life, and then through that may or may not fall in love. And you kind of just see where that goes and where their lives go. And yeah, great film.
Yeah. I watched this last night. I'm going to put a caveat on my thoughts in that I was very tired. And
I heard you fell asleep from Mom.
I did fall asleep about halfway through. With that said, I rewound and forced myself to finish it. But I was very, very tired when I did. There are aspects of the film that I really like. I give it massive credit for the editing. The idea, while the editing was very artistic and creative, I won't lie, it sometimes made the story very confusing and hard to follow. He does a thing in the film where the lead detective will sometimes physically be in the room or present with the action of, say, someone he's talking with on the phone or a flashback to another scene. So it was a little bit confusing for me at times when, like, I'm like, wait a minute, is he talking to her in the room right now, or is he imagining what would happen in the room? It's very dreamlike, and it can be it was very disorienting at times. I wasn't blown away with performances.
Really?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
The detective's assistant, really annoyed me. I thought he was this weird comedic. There's a scene in the very beginning of the film where the detectives have to go back up the cliff that the victim fell off of, and they do it by somehow cabling themselves up, and the assistant to the detective is hanging on his back like a baby in a parka.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing? And he's like, we're detectives. We have to follow the same track. And I'm like, why would a detective ever harness his partner? There were moments like that where I was like, this doesn't fit the tone of what I'm watching. And they would drop him in for these comic relief scenes. He's, interrogating a street thug that they kind of beat up and brought in. And then he kicks him over, and his partner walks in, and he's like, why did you knock yourself down? There was just strange tonal jokes that didn't seem to fit into this kind of noirish film. It didn't work for me, Jackson. I appreciate it.
Really? Okay.
It was unique.
What did you think about the ending? I keep waiting for you to bring up the ending, and you keep on.
Well, it's hard to bring it up without giving it away.
Did you like it or did you not?
I thought it was okay. The burial and the beach and all that.
Part. Come on.
Yeah, it was a long way to get there. It's kind of an inventive take. There's a lot of this. You know what's weird is at first this film reminded me a lot of Basic Instinct, and I know it seems like polar opposites, but we had this detective who's forming a relationship with a woman who may or may not be a murderer, and I was like, man, I'm getting real Basic Instinct vibes here. Now, this is artistically far beyond that, but I still couldn't help get that response. I really respect Decision to Leave. It looks beautiful. It's a bit convoluted and confusing at times. There's a big time jump in the middle of about a year where suddenly there's new relationships and a whole new slew of characters, and that one threw me for a bit. I would love to love this movie. I can't. I gotta go right down the middle with it and give it a C.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
Damn.
Yeah.
That stings. That stings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie to you.
Creative, different. Again, kudos for going to it. Didn't not enjoy it. Just was not resonating.
Right, fair enough. That's fair enough.
There you have it. However, Jackson, remind everybody what you gave Decision to Leave.
I gave Decision to Leave an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10. So it wasn't a masterpiece for you either, but
it wasn't the best, but it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And before we one more time, before we move on to our top 10 list, we got to do Jackson's Pretentious Art House Corner real quick.
That's right. I didn't know you saw something this week, so you must have snuck one in on me. I didn't know that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
everyone, let's cue the music for Jackson's Pretentious Art House Film Corner. Still don't have a theme. Okay. Somebody come up with it. We need someone to compose a song. Go ahead. What did you see this week, Jackson?
So I sat down and watched my first Ingmar Bergman film. I watched Autumn Sonata. You know what? You say but this movie stars not related to him. Ingrid Bergman, who you might know from a little movie called Casablanca.
Yeah, I know Ingrid Bergman.
Yeah, and she was incredible. This was a good movie. It wasn't great. It tells a story of a daughter and her husband who invite the daughter's mother-in-law to visit for the week, and they kind of spend the night just delving into their past relationship. And
why did you pick this as your first foray into? I mean, that's one of his lesser known, I think, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. It's because I was at the library and I was looking for DVDs to rent out, and they didn't have any of his other stuff, and so I just grabbed this one.
Gotcha.
Persona's on my list though, so I really want to see it. Actually, I think I downloaded that one for the plane to Paris. But
okay.
But I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because it's kind of it was definitely a slow burn, and I did like it, but I hope that there's better from him because there was definitely good moments, but a little bit of drag here and there.
I have not seen it. I have did he do 8.5 or?
No, that's Fellini did 8.5.
That's Fellini.
Bergman
Fellini
did Persona. He did Persona, and then he did the Seventh Seal, which is the
Seven Seals, the chess with death. Yeah, I've only seen scenes from that. It's okay. You're getting deep into your deep pretentious art house film corner. I'm not gonna slam them. But I'm gonna say if you're gonna go deep down the rabbit hole of art house films that could or cannot be considered slam pretentious, you're going to be going down the hole.
Yeah, Bergman's on the list.
So don't expect a lot of comments on the site about I agree 100%. Most of them are going to be like, Autumn what?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but okay. So do you feel the need to go back and visit his stuff right away? Or are you like, maybe I'll take a little time off before I go down the Bergman hole?
I'm excited. I've heard way better things from his other movies, so I'm excited for that. And there was a lot that I did love. The performances were great, and I know that the main actress, I can't remember her name, she's also in Persona, does a lot of his stuff as well, so intrigued, but not I wouldn't say like, it wasn't like it was with Mike Lee where I was like immediately involved.
Gotcha. It is the PGN podcast, father, son, Gen X, Gen Y, talking movies and baked beans and noise music or whatever we're calling that. Whatever comes up. By the way, Jackson, for anyone who's watching on YouTube, what are Christian moms against? Again, we can only see the top of your shirt, so I'm sure a few of our viewers are wondering what are Christian moms against?
You just froze up again. So okay, they're against.
Against. Show us.
Slumber Kai.
All right, I think we've been over this before. Is that a band?
Music. Yeah, music artist mascot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure to put them on for about 2 hours upstairs as loud as you can later when I'm taking a nap. That'll help me quite a bit.
No, I will do.
Yeah. Which I will be. I ran 8 miles this morning, as I'm sure most of our listeners did on January 1st. Jackson, how was your 8-mile run this morning when you got up and ran with your dad? How'd that go?
Great.
You feel good? Your legs good? They're strong? Ready for another one, huh?
Yep. Nice and strong. Sturdy.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed sleeping in. Welcome everybody to 2023. It's time to move on to the new year, but before we do, we got to put a nice big bow on 2022. We're going to start with our not so best list from 2022. First off, I want to do some apologies before we get into this list of films that may just may have been on the list, and both Jackson and I did not bother to see. So our apologies for not seeing Marry Me with Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson, Dog with Channing Tatum, Father Stew with Mark Wahlberg. Jackson, did you see The Secrets of Dumbledore? I think we skipped that one, didn't we?
I did not. Yeah.
Paws of Fury, Easter Sunday, the vampire film, The Invitation. Neither of us somehow missed George Clooney and Julia Roberts in Ticket to Paradise. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris somehow slipped by us. And since I fell asleep with it, I cannot include Violent Night, which I have a feeling would have been.
And don't forget 80 for Brady.
That's coming next year. That isn't even out yet.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
That one we're not missing. So those those might have been wonderful films, but before anyone calls in comments and go, how is that on your not so best list? We just were busy that week.
Yep.
However, we do have our 10 not so bad. What do you want to do? Want to count these down from 10? Go back and forth? Okay, well, there's another splice. Again, this is going to be kind of a choppy episode. Enjoy all these time jumps.
It's so weird.
What is the last thing you heard me say?
You said, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do countdown from 10? And I said, yes, I would love to do it.
Okay, great. 10. So we'll make that splice right there of me going Jackson, and you going Dad, and we'll cut right over that. This is good. Our not so best list. First off, we're both going to give you, in no particular order,
mine is not ordered as well.
5 films without 5 films that just missed the list. These are films that, boy, they wanted to squeak in and they didn't. My 5 are Thor, Love and Thunder. What a Marvel miss. Idris Elba fighting lions and Beast. The very surreal and confusing Men. Just saw this recently, White Noise. I was not a big fan of. That's the Noah Baumbach
wow,
movie.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, it didn't make the 10, but just missed it. And it was tough not to include The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum for earlier this year. What were your just missed, Jacksons? You wanted them on the list, but there wasn't enough room.
Yeah, so my just misses are going to be Jurassic World Dominion. Really not my thing.
Yeah,
Michael Bay's comeback film, Ambulance.
Oh, see, I liked Ambulance. I did.
Man, I just...
Okay. No, I get it.
Those drone shots were not for me.
Yeah, it tanked.
Top Gun Maverick is going to be here.
You know what? I'm proud of you though for not having. It's a just missed. It did not make your 10.
It's a just missed. It's
so,
not.
I'm proud of you. I was afraid that'd be number 1 on your list.
Yeah. No. This is a movie that a lot of people are eating up, and me and you both did not like, and that's going to be Tar, the new Todd Phillips movie with Kate Blanchett.
Yeah. It's not on my not so best, but it's certainly a little clue here. It will not be on my best either. So,
yeah, we were both. I don't know. I think we were both kind of confused on why everyone was
I still am.
Yeah, and then Elvis. I just I'm not,
didn't resonate.
Not
with
the
you.
biggest. Didn't. Yeah, it was not my thing.
Yeah. Have you seen any of his other films? Baz Luhrmann?
I've seen Romeo and Juliet.
We weren't a fan of that either. I don't think he's your jam.
No.
Yeah.
I don't. He's. I prefer the more minimal.
Gotcha.
Side of film, and he's very much on the opposite spectrum.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the unveiling of Jackson and myself's top 10 not so best films of 2022. Jackson, number 10 on your list, please.
Starting off with a bit of a hot take here. This is a movie that I know resonated with a lot of people, but I also think it's probably one of the most split movies of the year. Mm-hmm. This is one that ever since our last episode went up, I have been in like a DM debate with one of my college friends about this movie.
I think I know what's coming.
Because the guy that I live with said it was one of his favorite movies of all time, and I didn't exactly share that sentiment.
Oh, he said of all time?
He said of all time.
Wow.
And that's going to be, unfortunately, because I love this filmmaker so much, Damien Chazelle's Babylon.
Yeah.
Was a really, really big swing and a miss for me. Yeah,
I liked it more than you. I know it did not resonate with you at all. And but you do have to admit, I think we admitted it. You still think about it though, right?
Yeah, I do, because I was talking about it last night on during our New Year's party, because someone went, "Do I need to see Babylon?" And even though all my friends who had seen it with me, that all weren't the biggest fans, didn't like it, we were all like, "You should still see it because everybody's talking about this movie."
They are,
and you're gonna want to keep talking about it.
So, is a film,
like it or not,
is a film slightly successful if it resonates in your mind and it's something you want to talk about? I don't know.
I think it depends on the reasons you want to talk about it.
That's true. That's true.
It comes down to that.
Number 10 on my list is, I believe, the only remake on my list this year. I'm looking over. Yep. Yeah, it's the only remake, and really an unnecessary remake. It starred Zac Efron. It came out early in the year. I don't think Jackson saw it. The original was Drew Barrymore. It was not very good. This is the story of the young girl who can start fires with her mind. Number 10 for me is Firestarter. Again, I'm not even sure why this was made.
I never saw that.
Wasn't a great film the first time out, and was even worse one this time, I thought. Or not so best, shall we say. Number 9 on your list, Jackson.
Yeah, so number 9, this is also one that I think is funny to talk about because I just kind of mentioned this filmmaker last week as well. This is a guy who's kind of known for his crash and, not pun intended, I guess, kind of gory style. And this movie just really flew over my head. The production design was very, very good. It looked great, but there was something about the way it wrapped up that didn't sit well with me. And I just felt out of the loop. And that's going to be David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
Crimes of the Future.
Yeah.
Wonder if we'll hear mention of that film again.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because Viggo Mortensen is so great.
I love Viggo Mortensen, and Cronenberg's done some great films, but boy, I didn't get this at all.
Yeah,
I agree.
way over my head.
I agree. Number 9 for me, boy, when Marvel gets it right, they get it right. Examples: Captain America, Winter Soldier, the final Avengers, or the original Black Panther. But when they miss, man, they miss. I don't know if it's because this particular villainy is part of the Sony universe as well as Marvel, but Jared Leto, I don't know how he stumbled into this. Number 9 on my list is Morbius. What a lackluster anti-hero film that was.
A lot of funny memes came out of that, though. You got to give it some respect for that.
Well, I'm glad.
Not even respect for it, but I guess there was entertainment value was found.
Yeah, not with me. Number 8 on your list, Jackson, of the not so best films.
Another really disappointing film, considering that the lead actress in this movie is one of the best to come out in the last 10 years, I think. Mm-hmm. And this is a movie that another example of a movie that just could not wrap up properly. The ending really didn't sit well with me, where I kind of went, "Oh, okay, that was it the whole time."
Right.
It's a supposed thriller, I guess, that left me even more confused than wanting the mystery solved. And that's going to be Don't Worry, Darling.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't Worry, Darling.
Don't Worry, Darling. Oh, you froze up on me there for a second. Oh,
I left you hanging.
Yeah, I was like, it is? Yeah, again, a movie that, solid choice. Don't know if it'll be on my list or not, but I do think I liked it a bit more than you did. I think the performance of Florence Pugh saved it for me a little bit.
Yeah, she Florence Pugh was really good in it, but it's just
no, I get you.
That the ending was
it is safe to say that the world agrees with you on that one, Jackson. It did not perform well. Actually, I think it did perform well, and then people left angry. But I think it did pretty good at box office. I think it snuck away with it.
Yeah, I think
number
Harry
8
Styles
on
a lot of faces.
number 8 on my list would be the number 1 film if this was the top 10 most disappointing films of the year. This is one of the movies I was most excited about, and maybe that's why I was so let down by it. The trailers made me laugh. I love the premise. I'm such a massive Nicolas Cage movie fan, but I do not know how the unbearable weight of massive talent just fell so completely flat for me. That's number 8 on my list.
Yeah. Listen, there really is only one human versus animal movie that needs to be seen, and that's Jaws.
That's Jaws. So
once you've seen Jaws,
yes.
there's nothing else you need to see in that genre. It's
number 7 for you, Jackson?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they were going for here, but Idris Elba fighting a lion can only take you so far, and that's because my number 7 pick is Beast.
Yeah, he does fight a CGI lion at the end.
He does. A CGI Idris Elba fights a CGI lion.
And then a CGI Idris Elba is saved from the CGI lion by other CGI lions. And if I just ruin the ending, consider
we just saved you.
We saved you
a little bit of time.
About an hour and a half. Number 7 for you is Beast, huh? Number 7 for me is a Netflix movie that did so well. I think it's already been greenlit for a sequel, and I don't know why. Unfortunately, one of the worst villain performances of the year from Captain America himself. Which one's Captain America? I don't want to say Platt. I don't want to say
Evans.
Chris Evans. Apparently the books are fantastic, but the Gray Man series did not translate to film for me. I thought Gosling was completely wrong for this. A lot of CGI action that feels very cartoonish. The Gray Man is number 7 on my list, Jackson. Number 6, what do you got?
Number 6, this is one that was actually in your honorable mentions, and I was surprised that it wasn't higher because, oh boy. You know what? I liked Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt had a great cameo in this movie.
He did.
And,
until he's not there.
Taken too soon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's going to be The Lost City. You know, I'm not the biggest, rom-com guy to begin with, and you know, this is I wouldn't say this is a very complex one at that.
Yeah, it's a throwback to movies that you're not familiar with, Jackson, like Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone, yeah,
and kind of the rom-com adventure thing, and it like I said, it didn't make my top 10, but it just missed it. Number 6 on my list, Jackson, is a movie called Memory with Liam Neeson. And I would tell you why I liked it or didn't like it, but I don't even have the memory of what it's about. I remember it's Liam Neeson. I remember he's losing his memory and I think may have Alzheimer's, and then somehow ends up saying things like, you know, within 24 hours, I will find my memory and I will hunt you down.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson.
Classic.
Man, look, some of these are okay. Every once in a while there's a Taken movie that's okay, but how did he go from Schindler's List to these?
That's what I think too, where I'm like, how did he get put in that box? Because he is so good in Schindler's List.
Yeah. I just, memory escapes me, but it's enough I remember to have it number 6 on my list. Number 5 for you, Jackson. Number 5, here we go. Top 5 not so
number
best
5
films.
For me. Yes. You know what's funny about this is I went to go see this with all my friends, and we knew going in it wasn't going to be great. But apparently, I actually went to the bathroom during the coolest part of the movie. So maybe this would have been lower on my list if I had made it for that scene. But once again, you said it best. When Marvel is great, they are great. And when they are not, they are really not. And that is because my number 5 pick is Morbius.
All right. Well, we're back. Again, boy, if you are somehow muscling through this incredible editing and splicing job or lack thereof,
I'll make it smooth. Don't even worry about it.
You are a true fan. So I asked you what scene it was that do you remember that you left to go to the bathroom during Morbius?
It's when he kills the nurse.
Oh, okay. Well, it wouldn't have changed anything. Wouldn't have.
Right,
nope.
That's good.
Nope. Just to let you know.
All right, cool.
Still belongs exactly where you got it. Man.
And you know what? I wasn't going to test the theory anyways. So, yeah.
Number 5 on my list of the not so best films of 2022. Rumor has it it's based on a video game. It didn't feel like a video game. It didn't look like a video game. But apparently, Mark Wahlberg and the kid who plays Spider-Man. Really had a miss with this one. This is 2 guys gallivanting around the world, and there's flying boats, and what a train wreck this was. Sorry, that's the only way I can describe it. Number 5, Uncharted.
Which is so unfortunate because I hear such good things about those videos. Like they're really critically acclaimed, which is just so unfortunate. But yeah.
What is the last video game that got turned into a movie that was exceptional? Half the time I wouldn't know. I don't play video games. But do you know of one off the top of your head? Yeah, we're like.
I know they tried to do The Witcher with. I think it was Chris Evans.
Huh.
Or no, it was Henry Cavill. They did The Witcher with Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
and
that was a
show.
TV show, though. Yeah.
And but I heard that got the. I mean, I know the fans of the game liked it, but I don't know how it did critically.
I didn't even know that was a video game. I've just seen the ads for it. Number 4 on your list, Jackson. The not so best of 2022.
Number 4. I don't even know how to really segue this. I think you said everything I needed to be said about it, and that's The Gray Man. I think when Ryan Reynolds started talking about his Sisyphus tattoo, I think that's when I really clocked. So yeah.
Yeah. Good choice. A little higher up for you. Number 4 for me was a conclusion to a trilogy. I remember Jackson and I saw the first one a few years ago, and even though that's not really our genre, I think we both thought really well done and great to see Jamie Lee Curtis back in her form. They fell off the planet with the second one, Halloween Kills, which Jackson avoided because he heard the bad words. I absolutely hated it. And unfortunately, they did not improve on the third one. A really lackluster, convoluted ending to what looked to be a promising relaunch. Number 4 for me is Halloween Ends. And Jackson, again, I think you dodged a bullet on that one. I don't think you saw that this year, did you?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
And
I scared you off. Yeah. Number 3,
Jackson.
Jackson.
My number 3 is also one that you have not seen. I don't even know if I talked about it really on the podcast. I saw this with a group of friends. So, just a little bit of context here. Disney Channel, a couple of years back, started making an original movie called Zombies. Bit was that it kind of...
Look at the logo on my screen. Look at that right there. See where I'm pointing? Okay.
Do I need to watch what I say?
Well, I'm not an employee anymore. I didn't make whatever it is you're about to talk about.
The goal of Zombies, my top 3 are kind of, I more have political issues with, or things of that nature. Zombies 3 is a way of explaining racism, almost. It's an allegory for racism, where it's like, oh, the zombies are a part of our society, but they're different, so we have them excluded. But you know what doesn't make a good allegory for racism is when the minorities eat people. And then they made a sequel where there were werewolves that were kind of taking the parts of Native Americans.
Okay.
And then in this one, there are aliens, which I think you can probably use your imagination, represent illegal immigrants. And so, bit of a tough thing to be doing there. And it doesn't really work. And it's a Disney Channel original movie. At the end of the day, it's not like
I've never heard of this. What's it called? What's it called? Zombies?
Zombies.
I've never heard of it.
This is Zombies 3, though.
Zombies 3. Okay. Was there anyone in it that I would recognize, or is it all Disney kind of kid stars? No, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's all, even me, I was like, oh, this is like new generation Disney.
Now, why was this for Disney Channel or Plus or?
It was for Disney. We watched it on Disney Plus, but I don't know if it was ever on cable.
That seems like an interesting allegorical topic for Disney to tackle. I'm gonna have to do a little research.
It does, but I think they did it in kind of a distasteful way, and also and
it just didn't resonate. That's our word. That's our new word of 2023.
Yeah.
That didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, it didn't resonate.
Number 3 on my list was so disappointing because these guys have not done wrong for so many years. It's so easy to jump on the Dave Grohl train. He's in everything and everywhere. I just love him. I love the Foo Fighters. I love the Bee Gees covers they do. It broke my heart when Taylor passed earlier this year. And it's hard for me to even mention this film right now, knowing that they're still healing over the loss of their drummer. I don't want to go into all the reasons why Studio 666 did not work. But unfortunately, it did not. A comedy horror film.
Yeah.
It felt like something that they just got together during COVID and said, let's do this for fun. And probably should have just left it at home and shown it to their friends. Number 3 is Studio 666 for me.
Yeah. So my number 2 pick, we all knew this was coming. This is it's very interesting to me how a movie that's supposed to tackle the issues of sexism is somehow written and directed by a man who writes the female character in almost less than one dimension. Just unfortunate, especially having Jesse Buckley, who's so talented.
Yeah.
And the I'm blanking on the guy's name, but the guy who directed it, I know, is also very well renowned for Ex Machina and that one film with Natalie Portman as well. So
Annihilation.
Annihilation. Thank you. So just overall, really big swing and a miss on this one, and that's going to be Men. Yeah.
I have to be shocked. I'll be honest with you. I'm shocked. I thought for sure if I had to predict it, that would have been. I'm like, I'm trying to think now what your number one is, because I would have predicted Men was number one for you. I remember you did not. Not only did you not care for it, you just had a really bad reaction to it. As I told you, it was on my just miss list. I did not enjoy the film either, but I remember it was a very visceral experience for you that you needed to get off your chest all of your thoughts on that. I think
definitely that was a tough one to get through.
I think the fact that some of it is shot pretty well, and I was somewhat intrigued by the premise just slightly before it went completely off the rails. But I agree with you. Good choice. Wow, I'm trying to rack my brain. Let's see if we can. We'll wait till I reveal mine. My number two is another made for streaming film. I believe it was on Prime. Every time Sylvester Stallone kind of redeems himself with a great performance in Creed, or he comes back, Copland. I just love that film, and he does something that seems to kind of put him back on the map. Where you go, man, the guy deserves more credit than he gets. He does something like Samaritan, which is this kind of washed up superhero film that reminded me a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Last Action Hero from back in the 80s. It was very cheesy, but I listen, I like cheese. I like melted cheese. I like nachos. But this just wasn't the good kind. And I hear good things about his show. He's got a new TV show now called The Something. I don't know, on Paramount.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. I saw a scene from it and it looked intriguing.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, he's turning in some good work on that. There's good buzz. But as far as movies go, I think there's a reason why a Sylvester Stallone movie went to streaming first. Although, can we bust films for going to streaming? There's some pretty talented people working in streaming.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but number two on my list is Samaritan. So that leaves our number ones. Jackson's pick for the number one not so best film of 2022, as well as mine. Do you have an idea what mine is? I'm trying so hard to think of what you were.
No, I don't. Well, you did not see my movie, my number one movie. So
I didn't.
It's not something you've seen. So have I seen yours?
Yes, you have.
Am I going to be upset?
I don't think so. Anyways, we'll start with number one is Everything, Everywhere. No.
Don't even play that.
Don't even play that. Jackson, please reveal your choice for the number one not so best film of 2022.
I think that I can sum up this film best is that when the director of this movie was asked, he did an interview. The director of this movie did an interview once. And the woman who was interviewing him asked, Marilyn Monroe has seen a really big, resurgence lately, especially with Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
I did not. Yeah.
And off camera, he said, "Really, I don't understand why. It's just a bunch of whores in dresses." My number one goes to Blonde. I could spend 30 minutes on my moral issues with this movie. Taking someone's real life and scrapping it and making up your own version of it is a bit on the wrong side of it.
They call it a fictionalization of a true story, which to me is
But it's not even that though. It's really. I mean, I really read up on it, and there was just a lot of this where it's just like that just was not what happened.
Yeah.
And it's sad to watch. Even separate from that, it feels a bit pointless. Mm-hmm. I didn't get anything out of it besides being upset with it.
It's funny.
Overly graphic,
right?
And tough.
What's funny though is I have heard you say you thought she was pretty good in it though. Anna de Armas. Like, all things aside.
But the more I think about it, I realize that I saw a clip of it the other day, and I was like, she still has an accent. Like, she didn't really get rid of her accent in it. But I mean, I think that here's what I will say.
Okay.
She did a good job at portraying the fictional character of Marilyn Monroe. I don't know if she did a good job at portraying the real life person.
Gotcha. You're right.
She did what the director intended.
Yeah, I did not see Blonde. I think there is a chance she may get a nomination for Best Actress. I haven't heard of the film getting any other accolades. In fact, let me check here. Did she Golden Globes Best Actress? She did. Sure. She did. She was nominated for a Golden Globe for actress in a drama. So. I think the critics, have given her credit, but the film has received no accolades. And the Netflix movie Blonde. Yeah. I actually was excited to see it, and again, you had such a negative reaction to it that I kind of just put it off to the wayside. You said it's going to infuriate me, so I don't know. Should I curl up just to see it one night, just to go?
If you have nothing else to do and you just want to,
Jackson, I never have anything.
I don't know.
I never have anything to do.
If you want to give it a go, but you know what? You see where it is on my list, and you can make a decision based on that.
I think I'm going to take your word for it. Number 1 on my list of the not-so-best films of 2022 is not only a disappointing movie, a convoluted movie, a confusing movie, one of the weirdest films I have ever seen. And again, the fact that it had so much talent involved with it made it that much more painful. Jackson mentioned it earlier. My number 1 pick of the year is David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I forgot that I was waiting for that one.
The crazy machines and the concept of this utopian post-apocalypse. It was the most confusing thing.
And it kind of just stops too.
And it does.
It kind of just stops.
It's very short. It's like they almost said, we just got to cut this down before people revolt. Man, that one went way over my head. And look, Cronenberg, he's definitely a different kind of filmmaker, but this one was way too different for me. There it is, the top 10 not-so-best films of 2022. Agree? Disagree? What did we miss? Is there something we saw that you think should have been on there? Please put your comments in on our YouTube channel or any of our social media, Instagram and whatnot. We'd love your feedback. Before we get to the big one, the finale, the top 10 best films of the year, Jackson, what did you think of, how was it putting these lists together? Personally, I had a much easier time putting together my not-so-best than I did my bests, which makes me think the year for me was a little underwhelming. What about you?
It was for me. The hardest thing actually was putting together my honorable mentions, because my top 10 I feel like is pretty tight. I got a good group going, but with the honorable mentions I was like almost struggling to. There's a couple of my honorable mentions where I'm like, you know what, I wasn't really huge on that.
Right. So your 5 just missed the list. They really missed the list. Like, it wasn't close. It was like, if I had to pick an 11 through 15, these would be them.
Exactly.
But I wasn't racking my head. See, a couple of mine I was racking my head a little bit, but we'll see. Well, why don't we start with yours, Jackson? What are your 5 just missed if you had to make an 11 through 15 in no particular order?
In no particular order. You guys know how I feel about this movie. I wasn't huge on it, and I was disappointed, but there are moments of this that maybe I think about often. And that's why I made this list, is because I've been thinking about it lately, and moments of this made me realize why I love movies so much, and that's going to be number 5 is The Fabelmans for me. First on the list is The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg's new film.
Mm-hmm. What
next up, this is a movie that you did not see. This is the only animated movie to be on this list. I thought this was really great. Portrayal of coming into adulthood.
Minions?
And that's going to be Turning Red.
It's not Minions?
Yeah, it's not. No. In fact, if I had seen it, I would have put it number 1 on my worst, just for the crap I had to go through at AMC with that whole thing. But
okay, what else? What else is on your just miss list? These are films just missing
we also
your top 10.
have. Yeah, we also have. This is a really fun movie. And I really debated putting this on the list. This is probably the closest movie to it. And that's going to be Cha Cha Real Smooth. The surprising that I have a rom-com on here because it's not my thing, but damn, the characters are so lovable. Yeah. That main guy is just so fun to watch.
He's got a future.
Well written, smart. He's got a future for sure. Excited to see what he does next. This one actually was my number 10, and then I realized after going through my list that I actually knocked it down a point from my original grade because there's another movie that I wanted on my list that actually surpassed it, and that's going to be X. X, the horror movie.
The prequel, if you will, to Pearl, which probably did a little bit better.
Which I never saw, actually.
I did.
So maybe that would have been high on my list if I had seen it, but X. And then my last one, you know what? I came out of this confused, but I really do think that if I revisited it, I'd get more out of it. It looks great. The acting's phenomenal. And listen, Jordan Peele can do no wrong. And that's going to be Nope.
Yeah, Nope. I get it. Those are all very good honorable mentions. Turning Red I have not seen, but I would not argue with you on any of those. Although I will tell you this, I think Pearl is a much better film than X, so I think if X is an honorable mention, I think you probably might like Pearl even better. So that's definitely one I would recommend you see.
Okay, interesting. I should check that out for sure.
My 5 films, in no particular order, my honorable mentions or just missed my top 10 list. The relaunching of The Batman I thought was done really well. Pattinson went beyond all expectations. It's shot well. Paul Dano, great villain. Very impressed with Batman and hope they go in a great direction with it. Much like Jackson, Nope. Just missed my top 10 list. A movie that I walked out of a little more lukewarm than I wanted to, but it kind of stuck with me for a while. And I was also probably on my list of film I want to revisit the most. 13 Lives also. Look, it's a pretty standard not biopic, but historical reenactment of the rescuing of those guys. But wow, technically, just amazing. And hey,
that almost been my honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen and those guys. Again, Viggo back doing what he does best.
Viggo Mortensen and Colin Farrell. Come on.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
very, very good. Bardo made it on my honorable list as well. I know Jackson was not as big in this film. I just still think, well, it's too long, a little confusing. Boy, that's a filmmaker that you just can't look away from. And
I've been thinking about it.
And the 5th film on my list did not make my top 10, but was close. Top Gun Maverick. One of the most.
You know what? I'll take it because I was worried it was going to make the top 10. And if it did, we'd have some issues there.
It did not. But listen,
I'll take the honorable mentions.
If it saved movies, it was fun, it was popcorn, and sometimes that's just what you need. Before we get into our top 10 best films of 2022, here is our list of apologies. These are movies that we still need to see. They have good buzz, some critical acclaim. And again, if for some reason we see these in the next month or two, we can always amend our lists and give them the credit they do. But our apologies to Good Luck to You, Leo Grande with Emma Thompson, Till, The Son with Hugh Jackman, Living, Bill Nye getting lots of nominations for that, the foreign film Argentina 1985, My Policeman with Harry Styles, Armageddon Time, which kind of came and went with Anthony Hopkins. Neither one of us have seen Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and there's definitely buzz on that, especially in the animated category. A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks. Love it or hate it. It's something you have to consider around award times, anything with Tom Hanks. And The Pale Blue Eye with Christian Bale. That's the Netflix movie with kind of dark Edgar Allan Poe mystery. So we will probably try to see those, who knows, in the next coming months. And very much like last year, if we end up seeing something late, we can always amend these lists. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, our top 10 best films of 2022. Jackson, number 10, please.
So this is I wrote down the scores for these because I changed some of them in my reflections, so I wanted to address that. This is a movie that I originally gave a 7, but stuck with me more than I thought it would. I thought it was super, super creative. I thought it did a really good job at taking something that seemed like it was going one direction doing basically a complete halt and losing all its momentum, and then picking back up again right away. It was funny. It was clever. It had sure as hell had an ending you remember. And that's going to be Barbarian, which I originally gave a 7 and is now an 8.
Wow. That is a movie that I absolutely loved the first 2/3 of. And it just killed me on the ending. I just thought it got very schlocky and silly.
I also wasn't
end.
too big on the ending, but I really did enjoy my time with Barbarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would definitely put him into the discussion if this is what was the top 10 best first time films of the year. You know, like first time filmmakers, I would go, wow, this guy's onto something in that genre. I don't know if he's the next Jordan Peele yet, but okay, interesting.
Promise for sure.
Number 10 is a movie that you started to watch, but you were tired or had something to do. I still enjoy it. It's a throwback to the kind of the old adventure films of Hollywood, but with some of the best acting of the year in it. It's epic in scale, and I like that every once in a while. I like a movie that's kind of sweeping, and there is no getting over that Viola Davis is one of the best ones out there. Number 10 on my list is The Woman King.
Yeah.
Still need to see it. Still
pick.
need to see it.
That. Yeah, I do.
I'm telling you, it sneaks up on you. Number 9, Jackson.
Yeah, so for number 9, this is a movie that I think is going to make your list. I expect it to be a little bit higher, though.
Okay.
You did like it more than I did, but listen, you can never go wrong with Ray Fiennes, and this was a movie that grabbed you right from the first dish all the way until dessert. And that's going to be The Menu.
The Menu.
Really creative, very original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another film that needs to be kind of brought into the equation when you're talking about ensembles too.
Yeah, definitely.
A film where the
great cast.
Yeah, there's no one who stood out to me as not holding their own with anyone else. I mean, all really done well. Number 9 on my list, Jackson, is a film I do not expect to see on your list. I know that your reaction to it was not very positive. And I agree with almost all of your criticisms of it. However, I counter it with one of the best performances of the year. Again, I'm an actor. I'm a sucker for something that's almost play-like or even an adapted...
I thought this was going a different direction. I'm actually not upset about this.
Okay. I don't know if this film's going to get a lot of accolades besides a very obvious nomination for the lead. But I very much enjoyed my number 9 pick, which is The Whale with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
I wish you had liked it more. But like I said, when we talked about it earlier, I agreed with everything. There was, I was like, are some of the other performances not as good? I agree, but sometimes the good stuff outweighs the bad. It did for me in this one. Number 8, Jackson. What do you got?
Number 8 is the first documentary to make our list. Maybe that's foreshadowing for maybe another one in the future, but this is one that I also think that I liked more than you did. It's one that made me emotional for sure. I was so invested in the story of these two people who bond over one of the craziest hobbies one can have.
I actually did. I did not see this. I never got to see it.
Oh, you didn't see this?
No.
For some reason I thought you did.
And I had a feeling this would be on your list. Yeah.
Yeah. It's their contributions to science just on top of how interesting of a story and people that they are. And then eventually watching them, almost die in front of your eyes is so tragic and beautiful. And I couldn't keep my eyes away. And that's going to be Fire of Love.
Fire of Love. Did you, and I haven't seen it yet, I just from the previews, did you find them, I have to imagine they were pretty quirky, a little socially different. I mean how kind of out there were they? Were you like, no, they're pretty reasonable people, or were they a little? Were they a little nuts? I guess is what I'm saying.
They were a little bit, but not. There was moments where you're like, they're a little out there, but the male in the relationship was very media centric. Like he would go out and do interviews with on talk shows and stuff all the time. So he was more media trained than she was. She was more kind of hold away and more into the science, whereas he was more into it for the spectacle of it.
Gotcha.
Trying to just go bigger in a way. So really interesting dynamic. Very happy. While it is so sad that they passed, I'm just happy they did it doing what they loved together. So
interesting. All right. I still need to see that. Number 8 on my list. If number 9, The Whale, felt like a play, which it was based on, my number 8 pick easily could be turned into a play, since the majority of the film took place in a barn. We reviewed it earlier.
I was thinking it felt like a play as well.
Yeah, we reviewed it earlier. I gave it an A, and it's still probably the best performances all around, best ensemble of the year. Number 8 is Women Talking on my list. Jackson, number 7.
Yeah,
number 7. We've already talked about Women Talking.
My number 7, you've already mentioned. Actually, made an appearance in your honorable mentions. God, it looked good. It looked good. It sounded good. And I could watch Paul Dano go Bruce Wayne for hours.
Yeah.
He's so cool. I love him so much.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be Robert Pattinson so bad. Oh God, I wanted to be Robert Pattinson so bad. And that's the Batman.
The studios, they've pushed so hard at the end of that year for this film. They've sent us screeners, and they're showing it. It's not getting any ground. It's not getting nominations.
Yeah.
Why do you? Is it because it came out earlier in the year? Is it the superhero thing?
I think it's a mix of those. I really hope it gets nominated for cinematography because God, it really is a feat. And also soundtrack, because the soundtrack is really, really great.
Yeah. All right. Not surprised by that one. Number 7 for me is the film that you mentioned in your Just Miss list. This is a streaming movie that came out, and I think I watched it on a whim. The title was interesting, but besides Dakota Johnson, I was not familiar with anyone in the cast. This movie does an amazing job dealing with a person, and the actress herself has autism. And like I said, Jackson, look up the guy's name. The filmmaker, the writer, director, and star of the film.
Yeah, let's
this is a really, really, really sweet little film.
Cooper Raiff.
Yeah, and sometimes films just have to be that. They have to be small and intimate. My number pick is for number 7 is Cha Cha Real Smooth. I'm telling you guys,
that's a great pick. It's a great pick.
It's really a sweet, sweet film, and sometimes that's all you want. Number 6 on your list, Jackson?
This will not be on your list.
No.
Which disappoints me.
Yeah.
This is a movie that I went in almost completely blind. I drove 30 minutes to see it at a theater because it wasn't playing near me. And I'm so glad I got to see it on the big screen. You reviewed it earlier in this episode, and while I understand why it wasn't your thing, it very much so was mine.
Yeah.
It's an ending that'll leave you thinking for a long time, and that is Decision to Leave.
Yeah. I mean, again, we won't backtrack. I appreciated it. I can see why it's a filmmaker. I could see why a filmmaker would love this film. As an audience member, I still think it leaves you missing a little bit, but I'm not going to argue against it. Again, I gave it a very, very solid C.
That's definitely fair enough.
Number 6 on my list has already made an appearance on yours. What more can we say? Probably, with the exception of my number 1 pick, maybe the most original screenplay of the year. Incredible ensemble. Sometimes it makes you laugh, sometimes it makes you cringe, but you will never know where it's going. And one of the nuttiest endings I've ever seen. Number 6 is The Menu for me.
I think we're back.
We were doing so well. You heard my number 6 though, correct?
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah, it was The Menu. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely. I can see it. All of my so far up until this point, these have all been very close. It was tough ordering these. Like getting the 10 that I wanted was easy, but ordering the bottom few was really rough for me.
Really rough for you. I don't disagree. Yeah. So far, I feel like there's not a really. Is there one in my... Okay, so let's review. Before we get into our top 5, I've got The Woman King, The Whale, Women Talking, Cha-Cha Real Smooth, and The Menu. What were your 10 through 6?
I have Barbarian, The Menu, Fire of Love, The Batman, and Decision to Leave.
I think the only ones on your list I would just question just a little bit is Barbarian. But I wouldn't argue with about it because
Yeah.
Oh my God, the first 2 acts are so good. Just what a trip on the third. Mm-hmm. Is there one of my? Probably The Whale. You were not a fan of The Whale, but
yeah, but I get it. I think I'm more skeptical about The Woman King just because I haven't seen it, and it's like a bigger.
Yeah. It's tough. It
doesn't
seem
like
tough
my
when you
cup
haven't
of tea,
seen one.
But,
all right. So nothing really to argue with on the first 5 in. Let's see. Let's see where we're going. I'm going to say that I know at least 1, 2, 3. I know for sure 3 of your top 5. I'm not sure about 2 of them. How are you feeling about? I might know 4. Actually, I might know 4. And I think there's a chance.
I know for you. I know 1, 2, 3. I think I know 4 of yours as well.
I think I know 4 of yours. There's one I might be surprised by. Now the order I don't know, but I think I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll be very curious to see where our orders are. Jackson, number 5
Me too.
on your top 10 best films of 2022 until we freeze up again. Go ahead.
Number 5, this is a movie that I also went in completely blind. I knew nothing about this filmmaker until you told me a little bit about him before the movie started. I knew nothing about the plot. And the second we ended up on that boat, I was sold. I could watch, God, what's his name? The captain.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. I could watch Woody Harrelson, that Russian guy, argue about communism for the whole movie, and it would be hilarious to me. Yeah. And that my number 5 goes to Rupert Ostlin's Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah, great
really,
pick.
really, really clever and funny movie. And I wish I could put it higher. I think the only thing stopping me is that a little bit too long. I think 15 minutes could have been cut, and it would have been a lot higher.
Yeah. Interesting because my thoughts on my number 5 film are that 1, the ending petered off just a tad, not enough to kill it. And I do think we could have trimmed about 10 or 15 minutes off. I would have loved to have seen more conversations about communism and probably the best barfing scene since Monty Python's Meaning of Life. I agree. We are in full agreement on number 5, Jackson. My pick is also Triangle.
Wow, look at that.
Look at that, number
Same
5.
spot.
What if we ran the table?
That is
Wouldn't that
wild.
be weird? What if we ran the table? What if father and son
I don't know.
are so in sync that we go? What are the odds are? Do you want to? Well,
I know that's not the case.
It's not going to be the case, but
no, it won't be the case.
We'll see.
Jackson, well, we'll see. Maybe another one lines up at the end.
Who knows? Number 4, Jackson.
So, by the way, this is going to be the last 8 out of 10 that I'm giving. From here on out, we've got 2 more 9s, and then we'll see what happens from there. But
okay.
So this is going to be the last documentary on my list.
I know what it is.
Yeah. I have never been emotional at the beginning of a movie. Like 10 minutes in, and I was like, wow, like I'm already so into this. Just the visuals were perfect. The music was incredible. It made me want to go out and just listen to David Bowie's entire discography. And that's going to be Moon Age Daydream.
Yeah. The tough thing about, and I loved Moon Age Daydream, and it just missed my 5 just missed list. So it's right there.
Yeah,
if there was a 16 or 17, it would probably be in there.
For sure.
The problem when I recommend, or if I want to recommend Moon Age Daydream, is that is a movie that has to be seen on a massive screen.
It does,
with
though.
an incredible sound system. I'll be curious if I'm flipping around on cable one day and it's on, if it still has the same impact it did. I liked it a little bit less than you because I wanted more story on Bowie, and I think you probably didn't know the stuff that I already knew. Like, I knew he was an artist.
Yeah, it was a lot of new information for me.
Yeah,
so
for me,
I went in with very little knowledge.
Yeah, so I think for me it was just a little bit further down But I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's a very solid pick. I can't argue with that. Number 4 on my list, we just reviewed this last week. It has stuck with me. I've never been a massive fan of just war movies in general. There's been a ton of them that feel kind of tired and rote.
Yeah.
And, people run across the field, get shot at, dodge bullets. But this is a really good foreign film. Right now, without seeing Argentina in 1985, which I know that Decision to Leave and this are probably the 3 duking it out, or will be at the Oscars this year. I'd be shocked if any of them don't get nominated. But for me, this one resonated wholly. Man, what a powerful war movie! And the score is just spot on. Talk about a powerful. I mean, it adds to it without taking away from it. And this Paul Kammerer, he just really phenomenal actor. It's on Netflix now. It's All Quiet on the Western Front. Great film. Number 4.
And
go ahead, Jackson.
My number 3 is also All Quiet on the Western Front. That is my number 3 pick.
Wow. Okay, so not quite. You have a little bit higher than me. Okay.
I did. I originally gave this an 8. I bumped it to a 9. I cannot stop thinking about this movie. I can't. I've been listening to the score. It's just so well done. Yeah. And it's a great example of a movie taking. There's definitely moments where I'm like, I can see where this was influenced by other war movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think that it does so much, and uses the influences so well that I'm just like, God, you can't look away. It's a horror show. It's a car wreck. It's brilliant, and so.
But
my number 3 pick's going All Quiet on Western Front.
What I will last thing I'll say is All Quiet on Western Front is that it's a movie that lets you breathe and exhale a lot too. Some of its best moments, like
definitely.
with the soldiers sitting on the commode, out in the field, talking about the death of his son, and there's a lot of very tender moments between actors here as well. I don't want.
We both. I think we mentioned earlier the scene where the guy's talking to the girl, the poster on the wall.
The poster, yeah,
which is just like, oh man.
Yeah. So don't think this is just a 2.5 hour storming of Normandy technical. I mean, there's plenty of that. But this movie's got some very nice character development and really, really nice subtle moments in between. Number 3 on my list, Jackson. It's the Banshees of Inisherin. I feel like we've said so much about this film.
I thought that was your number 1. That was my guess for your number 1.
Yeah,
that's wild.
I'm just going to say it. The Banshees of Inisherin. It's such a good film. It's a movie that I cannot wait to revisit. What's weird is that I think there's a part of me, as much as I love the film, and God, I can't wait to see it again, is that, I'm going to say it, I love In Bruges so much.
I know.
that, which not only is the best film of that year for me, it's in my top 10 of all time, that I can't help but in some ways go, do I put it on as big a pedestal as I do In Bruges? But four performances that deserve to be nominated, a screenplay that deserves to be nominated, a director, a movie. I wouldn't be disappointed if it ran the gamuts, the Academy Awards. Number 3 for me is The Banshees of Inisherin.
I did rewatch The Banshees of Inisherin, actually.
Does it hold up the second time?
The day they put it on HBO Max, I rewatched it. And it was just as funny.
It's just as good.
And it was just as gritty when I'm not going to give it away, but
yeah.
And that's why it makes my number 2 pick. The Banshees of Inisherin absolutely deserves to be here. I would not be mad if this won Best Screenplay, or if either Brendan Gleeson or Colin Farrell won for actors, and I'm blanking on his sister's name as well.
Carrie Copeland. It's Carrie something. My apologies.
And I can't remember, but or the younger guy. Why am I blanking on everyone's name right
Keegan?
Now? The young, yes, or Barry Keegan. God, he's so good in that. Mm-hmm. So such a great movie.
I think if I had to, if there's the two, if it only could win 2 Academy Awards out of all the major categories, film, screenplay, director, lead actor, supporting actor, actress, whatever. I think I would be most disappointed if Colin Farrell doesn't win Best Actor and if Barry Keoghan doesn't win Best Supporting Actor. I think those, if I had to root for two, I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed if it won anything else, but those are two performances that I don't think I saw better performances this year, at least on the male side.
So good. Agreed.
Number 2 for you is The Banshees of Inisherin, my number 3. So that leaves my number 2. My number 2, Jackson, is a movie that you haven't seen. And I wonder to this point if I've talked about how much I liked it, and for whatever reason it resonated with me. I think because it was so much more of a calling card to movies in general than Babylon was. I think. I think that the performance, just absolutely from Olivia Colman, just stole my heart and broke my heart. And I just think Sam Mendes shot this so beautifully. I don't know if this movie's going to resonate with you as much as it did with me. I really do want you to still watch it. And I hope that you just kind of sit back and take it in. And it's a film that I don't think is going to get a ton of nominations. I think she will, maybe Mendes, maybe it'll sneak in for film. But I absolutely loved and was moved, and sometimes that's what I want the most from movies, by Empire of Light, my number 2 pick. There you have it.
I see. Here's my thing: is that I really want to see it, but I almost feel like
you should have seen it on
the
big screen.
I want to see it on the big screen.
I think.
I missed it.
I think on our big TV, I think you will. I mean, it's not like it's a sweeping epic, but I think you'll still appreciate what he's doing with that theater. He found so many ways to shoot that theater. And
that's when it's Roger Deakins.
And it's in an interesting way. It is the top 10 best films of 2022. I sit here with my son Jackson and myself. We have now revealed our 10 through 2 picks. Nothing left but to do it. Jackson, please, if you will, reveal what we all know is your number 1 pick, which is going to be
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Everything
is the best movie of the year.
Everywhere All at Once.
God, I just
now Jackson, hold on.
Before perfect storm of a movie.
Before you get into it, how many times have you seen it now?
6.
6 times. What do you? Because we've heard you talk about it a lot. What is it that now still resonates the most with you with the film? Like when you rewatch it, do you go, wow, I missed how funny that was, or I never realized he was saying this? Are you still discovering new things about it, or are you just reliving those same feelings?
It's such an interesting movie, and I've talked with a lot of people about this because it's a movie that everybody collectively gets something new out of. When I saw it with all my friends, everybody had a different moment where they're like, that was what spoke to me, and for different reasons, and I thought that was so beautiful. As for me, whenever you watch it, I have gotten something out of the film like completely different every time, and it's because so much of that movie and what you get out of it depends on your headspace and what's happening in your own life at the time. So like the first time I watched it, I think that it was the rock scene is what really got me, and then the second time it was in another universe I would have loved doing taxes and laundry with you, and then the next time I watched it, it was all of the the end compilations of just their lives together. And the next time I watched it, it was the conversation with them in the parking lot. And the next time I watched it, it was even earlier where I was just like, oh my God, the buildup is killing me, and now I'm just getting emotional thinking about it. There's so much in this movie to love. And it's almost, this movie was basically genetically engineered for me to love it. I mean, the callbacks to Wong Kar-wai, the cinematography, oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? The guy who plays Waymond. The guy from the Goonies. Why am I forgetting his name right now?
Ke
Huy Quan. Ke Huy Quan is one of my has probably my favorite performance of the year. God, I love him in this so much. He's just, you can't. I see so much of myself in him, and he's just, I don't know. I could go on for hours. Right. I've talked to so many people in this movie, and the fact that I have yet to find someone who has not left feeling something is so powerful, and it's what I love so much about movies, and it's why it's my favorite movie of the year, and it's why it's my favorite movie of all time.
Wow, there you have it. Probably not a shock to any of our regular listeners. Jackson's pick for number one film of the year. My pick for the number one best film of 2022. He's back. Daniel Craig solving a mystery on the island. I'm just fucking with you. It's Everything, Everywhere.
Oh my God. My heart just said, I was like, no way. You just said Knives Out. That was, did you see my face?
Yes,
that was so genuine. I was like, no way. He's about to say that.
My choice is also Everything,
Yeah.
Everywhere, All at Once. I saw Everything, Everywhere, All at Once before Jackson. And as much as the movie moved me, as much as it enthralled me, as much as it made me laugh, it was so creative, so dynamic. A movie has not made me laugh that hard and cry that hard in a long time. But the big thing I remember the most from seeing the film is I could not wait for you to see it. I was watching it, I'm going, Jackson, it's the first time I've been like, Jackson, you have to go see this film. Now, did I know it was going to be your favorite film of all time? No, but it's the only film that I walked out of this year where I went, Jackson, go. And you remember I said you have to go.
Yeah.
It is a wholly creative cinematic experience. It resonates on every level. The cast is spot on perfect. The directors, the bar's been set high. I don't know what they're doing next.
Yeah, I do not envy their position right now because this movie already has such a cult following.
Yeah.
It's
it's going to be a tough sophomore film for them because it's going to be hard to do a review of anything that they do without going, it's no in Bruges. It will most definitely get nominated in every major category. Believe it or not, I think its big competition in film right now is between Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, and Tar, which is gaining some momentum as well. So,
really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very, no big controversy, I think, in these.
Yeah, I know. Which is, yeah.
I think two very dynamic sets of lists there from both of us. Some similarity, some not. But there's nothing that I think set one of us off like, are you out of your mind? Which means that we are going to have to up.
Well, almost.
Yeah, almost.
Until that glass onion reveal was pretty disheartening.
Daniel Craig solves a murder mystery on an island. You were like, oh my God, you picked glass onion.
God, he's gone crazy. He's gone crazy.
Hey, it may get it.
Good Lord.
It may get a nomination.
We'll see.
Jackson,
We'll see.
What are you looking forward to most in 2023? Is there anything that you've heard about on the horizon?
I'm not over the moon about really anything. I mean, I'm excited to see where Oppenheimer goes just because I think it's a good story.
Right.
But like you said, Nolan's not really in my good graces right now after Tenet.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what to think about the Barbie movie. I'm not that excited for that. Scorsese has a new movie coming out, which I'm excited for to a degree, but I don't really know much about it. And also, I wasn't the biggest fan of what do you call it? His last movie, like the 4-hour one.
Oh, the gangster one for Netflix. Yeah, I can't. The Irishman.
The Irishman. Yeah, The Irishman.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I know that there's a movie about Adam Driver's in a new movie about Ferrari or something or.
I'll watch anything.
I'm looking it up
even
right
though
now.
I wasn't
Hold
a fan of what.
I mean, he is in 65. That new one coming out. Yeah, he's in a movie called Ferrari. With Robert De Niro, but Adam Driver plays Enzo Ferrari, and it's directed by Michael Mann.
Wow. You know what's funny?
Curious to see where that goes.
You know what's funny is there's so much hype about these films and big actors and big directors, and here we are. If I told you last year your favorite film of the year and maybe even all time is going to be this little small independent movie with the kid from Goonies and Jamie Lee Curtis, you'd be like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what? And who is Michelle? Oh, was she in Crouching Tiger? I never saw that. So that's the great thing, is that we will continue in 2023 to see any and all that we can, and hopefully have more surprises than lets downs. Jackson, I love you. Best of luck to you in Paris. We will miss you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And come back with lots of stories. So maybe we'll have a little return podcast where we won't bog everyone with slides and pictures, but we'll let everyone know some of the best stories coming out of Paris. And if you come back some French film snob, I swear to God, I'm going to make you go watch Plane and 80 for Brady back to back. Because that's probably
a rough double
That's probably
screening,
what
yeah.
I'm going to be doing while you're gone.
Yeah, that's tough.
Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, give us high ratings. Please follow us on social media, Jackson N. Burns and Regan.Burns, and let us know what you're excited about for 2023. Did we forget something? What's the buzz on and we haven't heard about it? We'd love to hear from you. Jackson, any parting words for the year?
Thank you guys for watching. I know we both appreciate it. We have so much fun doing these. Go watch Everything Ever All at Once.
Oh my
damn
gosh.
it. Go do it again. Do it again and tell me how good it is.
Yeah, you really don't get it till you see it 6 times. That's when it really starts to resonate.
Oh, you don't. You don't. I can't wait till 7. I cannot wait.
Oh my gosh. All right, buddy. Travel safe. Love you.
Sounds good. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.